Welcome, everybody. Margaret is out of town this week, so I'm now filling in. I think we'll start with your Detective Swift. Yeah. Is that right? I apologize, I wrote the wrong name on the agenda. But thanks for being here tonight. Yeah. I'll let you go ahead and start if you're ready.
Mostly, I guess, looking for input from you guys. It's been a pretty quiet month. Fingers crossed, Mark's been looking pretty good. Most areas around here have been, looking good. It's so far so good. We're, waiting for the warm weather to happen to see what goes from there. But so, if there's anything you guys are seeing, you'd like me to take back to the patrol or bike guide, anything like that, any upticks you've seen?
I have one. So we drive along 50 going over to Jim, and where's that? We see those real tall trees, and then you have that yard, whatever that is, the playground. But we always see people every once in a while.
How far south?
So it's on the other side.
Yeah.
It's all south.
Oh, so that's probably South Salt Lake. Yeah,
that's probably.
So that's not you.
The boundary jags down up there somewhere, but I want to say it's up above 5th. Yeah.
The 21st South is the boundary, and then it goes down to 5th. So you're talking about the St. Anne's ball fields? Yeah, that's in South Salt Lake.
We can't see people.
That track that on the park might be what you're seeing down there.
Hey guys, so excuse our tardiness. We have calls and won't have calls.
No problem.
We're always looking for traffic enforcement on 300 East, 400 East, 500 and 600 East. We have a CIP. I spoke about our CIP grant request last night for traffic calming on those streets.
Yeah.
But have
they told you guys where you are on the ranking for those streets?
We are. They haven't told us we've been asking for 19 years.
I know they do some kind of ranked list.
They did a grid on the city, and that's we're working on that, but we would appreciate enforcement.
I can put a word in with the.
Because in 2025 we asked, and they only came once.
What stretches on
between 17th and 21st right now is the main areas that we're focusing.
Most like speeding or
speeding. Okay. Yeah. The speed limit posted is 20, and they go 30 and 40, and sometimes 50. We even have the speed boards, but the drivers ignore those.
300 East up to 7th.
Yeah, 300, 400, 500, 600. And anywhere along that stretch. Right now we're focused on 17th to 21st for our CIP, but Liberty Wells goes from 9th south to 21st. And the issue that we have is people cut through to avoid the traffic on State 7. Yeah. But they still go the speeds of State 7. And again, they're 20 to 20 miles per hour in neighborhoods. So, thank you. Appreciate it.
And we'll probably just be repeating that at every meeting.
Yeah, if you forget, we'll tell you again. Anything else, or are we good to have the fire department give their update? Anyone else have comments for?
No, thanks for being here.
Thank you for being here.
No, I can hang for a minute. There's no rush.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. So my name is Landon Griffiths. We are the group from Truck 8 Ballpark. And for the month of February, our chief has a message that he'd like us to share in regard to CPR and cardiac arrest. So here in the United States, more than 350,000 out-of-hospital cardiac arrests occur every year. So it is quite a lot. We see it very often. And the biggest things that he's asking the public is to just be aware of the signs. So if you see an unresponsive person, you suspect cardiac arrest, you can obviously go up and check for a pulse, but first thing you do is call 911. Okay. And then our dispatchers actually are trained to coach the caller through how to perform CPR. And that is one thing that we're doing here in Salt Lake City to help with our resuscitation members. Okay. The other biggest thing, in addition to CPR, that helps save lives when someone has cardiac arrest, is the use of an AED. Anybody know where the AED is in this building?
I think it's actually right down by the entrance.
There we go.
Ding, ding, ding.
Awesome. We're hiring, brother, so we.
So as you're walking around, you see, usually if you see a first aid kit on the wall, somewhere close by, there's also going to be an AED. So notice those as you're out walking around, be aware of them, and they're very easy to use. Once you hit the power button, there's a voice that will talk you through everything you need to do. Okay. So in addition to that, I just want to share that here in Salt Lake City, we're really fortunate to have an awesome medical director, Scott Youngquist, Dr. Youngquist, that works up at the University of Utah. He's a real go-getter and has us on the cutting edge of how to help people in a cardiac arrest. So we have a lot of variances here in Salt Lake City. We have different drugs that we can give that are showing a lot of promise in helping to bring people back. Okay, in addition to that, we do give CPR classes through the fire department, and I'll leave this here. There's a website with a link. I've highlighted it here. If anybody's interested in going to a CPR class, you can find that here. We are hiring, if you know of anybody who is interested. Yeah.
I'm thinking seriously.
Hire me to be a fire or something, or staff, or?
So we're hiring firefighters and paramedics right now.
Okay.
So if you know anybody who's interested in that, we do provide, for the firefighter position, we provide all the training that's required. And the only requirement is to have a driver's license and be 18 years. So anybody who's interested in that, we will be having a recruit class in August, will be our next one. Also, just some kind of GWIZ information for you. The station that serves your area in the month of January, between the engine and the truck that we have there, we ran 503 calls in the month of January. So we're pretty busy here. And throughout the whole city in the month of January, there was almost 4,400 calls for service. So we're staying pretty busy, but that's the way we like. Okay.
Do you have a breakdown between medical calls and fire accidents?
I do.
Fires?
Yes, I do. So our apparatus, the ladder truck, ran 44 fire calls and 198 medical calls, and our engine ran 83 fire and 178 medical.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question on the CPR piece. If there's an AED nearby, do you just go right to the AED and skip CPR?
If it's just you would look at the AED first and then do CPR, and it'll coach you through that. If there's multiple people, we would want at least one person doing CPR while the other person goes calls for help.
Okay. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is early defibrillation is the number one. It's the best thing that can be done for the patient. Right? If they're truly in cardiac arrest, getting that shot as quickly as possible is the best thing you can do. So if you're by yourself, go grab that AED first. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, where is your cutoff in boundaries? I know it overlaps, but technically between Station 5 and Station 8.
It's about 7th East. Then we go down to pretty much the corner of the park here. And then it kind of jogs a little as you head farther north. But 7th East is our.
Interesting, the least split would be farming.
Yes.
And the interesting part about that is we're in H districts, we're on the west side.
Right.
So we take the east side of the park because we.
That's what I thought, yeah.
And then 5's
Because of the entrance.
And we take the west side.
Yeah, cool, thanks.
The only other thing that's in the newsletter here is in regards to a new app called the My SLC app. Sounds like some of you are familiar with that. Just want to say that in that app, you can report non-emergency items. Shockingly, a lot of non-emergency calls get filed through the 911 system. And we sometimes get sent out to look at broken sprinkler heads, all sorts of fun stuff. So those kinds of things, that's the best way to advise the city about that, is through that. Okay? Any other questions?
That brought up a question. Okay, so I was going to ask the CPR classes. Do you guys by chance teach CPR for pets? Because I think the American Red Cross does. I'm just wondering if you guys do. Okay. And then back to the pet thing, because you're saying people call about broken sprinkler heads. You know, in the movies, the firemen are getting the cat from the tree. Do you guys answer to that kind of thing?
So many times. Many a cat out of the tree. You've never seen a skeleton or a cat skeleton in a tree. Well, not out there. Anyway.
But I saw this news story that was in Michigan or somewhere of a swan got frozen in a lake, and the fire department came out and spent hours, and they were able to get it out. And some people are saying, how do you spend our money on this? And I'm like, A, humanity, but B, it's good practice, right? Like, because you never know when it's going to be a person. So it's good practice for you guys to save the wildlife out of the attic.
The way I think about it is, to the extent that we can, right? Our job is to solve the problem, whatever the problem is. And people call us whenever the problem has become outside of their ability to control themselves. And sometimes that's a cat in a tree, sometimes that's their house on fire, or a medical emergency, or whatever, right? But yeah, from cats to dogs to birds, you name it within reach.
Okay. All right.
And when we're on the call, we can always prioritize a more important call. So like in certain situations, we may have to divert to another call, a full arrest or a house fire. But we will get someone back to that scene as quickly as possible if it's not emergent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Anything else for us?
It's me again. Sorry. I appreciate you guys because I did call you guys like I think weeks ago because in my house it was like 1 o'clock in the morning and it started smelling like an electrical fire and I couldn't tell where it was coming from, so I thought maybe it was in a wall or in the attic and I couldn't tell, and I thought maybe you guys would have equipment to be able to know. Yeah, so I called you guys. I felt so bad because there wasn't an actual, it wasn't a fire, but it was a night light was burning.
Oh,
wow. Yeah.
All of our apparatus carry a thermal imaging camera that we can use in those kinds of situations. We can see if there's a fire behind the wall. We'll look at all the outlets to see if any of them are overheated. We do have the equipment to come in and find. If you smell something that smells like it's burning, go ahead and give us a call.
Yeah, so I was so thankful to you guys because I felt so stupid, like, oh, it's a night light burning, but I didn't know if it was something behind a wall or in the attic, and pretty soon the house was on fire.
Well, that can very easily spread and become something bigger. So I'm glad you called. We were able to get that figured out for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'll leave this. I have the websites for both the hiring and the CPR classes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Detective Swift, after they came in, I remembered, you guys can't do anything about this because it happened so fast, but someone set off fireworks. I don't know, Monday. Did anyone else hear that? Monday night?
Like
12:30?
What? Valentine's weekend, they were setting up fireworks?
It was like on Tuesday night. It was 12:30. It was close to Hawthorne-ish, would you guys say?
It was. We heard it.
Oh, it was terrifying. No, I thought like a transformer was exploding, but then it kept going. I was like, okay, someone's doing fireworks. Yeah, you guys heard it too.
Yeah, high school age kids that check social media.
I know, it's like teenagers. No, but yeah, you guys heard it too. Then it gave me a heart attack. All right. Well, thank you again for being here. I appreciate you. It looks like Josh hopped on. Maybe, Josh, are you ready to give us your update? Thanks for being here.
Can you hear me all right?
You can.
Great. I can't see all of you in the room, but I can see myself on the screen. But that's okay. So it's good to be with you here this evening, and thanks for the opportunity to let me join on Zoom as well. So of course we've had a lot of winter weather and cold weather too. So first thing I wanted to share was the Unsheltered Utah and Second Coalition are doing Code Blue nights at the Methodist Church, and they are looking for volunteers, continuing as the cold weather for I think tonight and through tomorrow at least. And so I shared in the chat a link to volunteer if that is something that interests you and you're able to do. I shared that link there, but you can also just search Unsheltered Utah. They have a pretty active Facebook page, and it should be easy to be connected if you're interested in volunteering. And then, are you all hearing me all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For me, it's frozen. My video, so I'm just making sure that I'm still coming through fine.
You're moving for us. We can hear you.
Okay. All right. And then, as far as snow goes and snow removal, a lot of the snow is probably going to be melting over the weekend and stuff. But, if we continue to have more snow this winter, you can track our snow plows, on the city website. Go to slc.gov/mystreet, and there's a snow removal tab, and you can click and you can see a live snowplow tracker. You can also report snow removal issues either through the website or through the MySLC app. So just a reminder there. And then other reminder, the watch party continues out at the Civic Center at Library Square through this last closing weekend of the Olympics. So if you happen to be out there or want to join some people to watch, that is continuing through this weekend. And also, I'll just let everyone know about an opportunity through our city's sustainability department. They've opened the Food Microgrant program. This is the 4th year that they've done this program. It gives residents up to $250 to grow their own food, whether that's a personal garden or I think they can go for beekeeping. It's a number of things to do with food production. It also is available for community organizations that also work in that space. So I'm also sharing the link to that in the chat. But it's search SLC Food Microgrant, and you should be able to find that pretty easily. And I think that was it as far as new announcements, things going. We have budget season, which is going to be coming up by May. So, we're getting briefed more on that and just getting ready for that. But as far as other new things, I don't have anything more at this time, but I'm happy to take any questions.
I have a question. You can't see it, but.
Hey Josh, it's Christina from East.
Hi.
So we just wanted to take this opportunity to let your community council know that on next Thursday during our regular meeting time, so February 26th at 7 o'clock at the Mill, the mayor will be attending our meeting. And of course, since we're neighbors, we have a lot of overlap on questions and issues. So we'd like to invite you and your whole community to come and ask their questions of the mayor. If your council has any questions ahead of the time that you would specifically like us to put on the list for the mayor, for her to make sure she has the right people there, you guys know my digits or can find it pretty easily. So just reach out to us. But it's not an actual collaboration that we're doing this time, but we'd like to include you in any way that you would like to be included.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Christina, for sharing that. So we're excited for that meeting next week at the Mill with the mayor. So for those that are interested are able to come out and join. But yeah, any other comments? See some of you there.
We talked about volunteering the unsheltered at what church was that? What kind of volunteering are you looking for?
Oh, maybe you should explain what.
Sorry, I lost audio.
Think, but don't quote me, that pets might be allowed, but I don't want to give you bad information. So we'll have to fact check me on that. And then,
That's my impression as well, they're letting bring in, as long as it's not like aggressive or something, I think they're letting.
yeah, yeah. And, the code blue is, the alert is actually something that's statewide.
Oh, so the state has to.
The
change
state,
that.
that's right. I do know that there are some efforts to raise the temperature a little bit, so we have the likelihood of more people getting indoors, especially when it gets cold during these winter months. But it's a state designation.
And it affects our enforcement as well, they'll dial back like some of the homeless camp enforcement, things like that, like, they try to avoid, unless there's the guy got a warrant or something else, they try to avoid disrupting them. Like,
Let them stay.
Stretch. There's a whole like criteria, and I think you're right, I think it's around 18 degrees, and that might include wind chill. So I don't think strictly the degrees in the forecast, I think it's the overall belt temperature, if I remember right. Again, I'd have to double check that. I think you are right.
Yeah, but very cold, and we don't want anyone stuck in our streets.
Great question, thanks.
Yeah, great question.
I just wanted to know what it involved in the volunteer. I knew it sounds like it's shifts, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you're able to sign up for shifts. It looks like, 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours at a time. I think the hardest shifts to staff are probably the like midnight to 2 a.m. or 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. shifts. But, I think anytime you're able to give of your time, I think it makes a difference, especially because sometimes it can happen unexpectedly.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Josh, were there any other updates that you had? We kind of had some technical difficulties, but we think we have you back up.
Yeah, I hope that question was able to be answered. It sounds like it did. But yes, I don't have any other comments.
We wouldn't have questions for Josh, but anything. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Josh, for being here tonight.
Thank you.
And then Erica, we'll start right back to you.
Yeah.
What updates you have?
Do you want me to stand? Do you want me to sit?
Maybe
However you're-
scoot up.
Yeah,
so
scoot up,
people,
I can see you.
The owl
Okay.
gets you.
I'm sorry to put my back to you.
Still squeezing.
Hi everyone. I think I've met you all. I see some very familiar faces in the room. Wanted to just provide you a couple updates and also see what questions and concerns are coming up for you all. So some District 5 level updates that I want to brief you on is that Jefferson Park, it's technically a detention basin that's located in District 5 near Central 9th, is getting some love. There's going to be almost $2 million poured into that park to improve it, improve the lighting, the safety, and the usability of that park. I'm mentioning this because there is a very short public engagement window that opened yesterday. And so you've got 2 weeks to provide some feedback on what you'd like to see different in that park. I know it's outside of kind of your official boundaries, but as D5 neighbors, you might have some thoughts about how to improve that space. Second thing I wanted to flag for you that's currently before the council is something called, Detective Swift might also have some ideas and feedback on this, is the recurring nuisance property ordinance that, recurring nuisance ordinance. And this is an ability to give SLCPD some additional cover to enforce on what might be nuisance properties, particularly as you think about maybe a convenience store in your neighborhood where there's a lot of nuisance type of activity happening, whether it's alcohol consumption, loitering, all the other types of ways that one could define nuisance. So that came before the council. And if you'd like to weigh in on that particular ordinance, the time to do that will be at the formal meeting on March 10th, formal session. And at any time, you can always email your comments to City Council, I should say, on any issue. And every day we get a roundup of all those comments, and I read every single one. So, that's an opportunity for you to provide some feedback and input. Last major update I want to share with you that maybe isn't that big of an update is that we're still in legislative session. The city is still trying to ensure that, the city's priorities are reflected in all of the bills and things that are before our legislators. If you're ever wondering, I wonder what bills is Salt Lake City tracking? Because, you're laying awake at night and you're like, I can't sleep. What bills is Salt Lake City tracking? I can follow up with a link so you can see the city's official position on different bills and those that are very high on the city's radar and priority. A couple just updates and then would love to hear any questions. You've got the town hall, hosting a town hall on March 25th at Horizonte. Would love any of you to join. It'll be an opportunity to hear about some broad level updates about what's happening in District 5. I am hosting a Budget 101 workshop. So how does the city budget work? 101. We're getting down to basics here. That is going to be on April 8th, and we should be opening up the RSVP link for that soon. The intention of that is that the mayor will present her budget to City Council, the draft budget in April, more official budget in May. City Council votes on the budget and says yes, no, more here, less here, etc., all of the horse trading. And I would love for you all to know a little bit more about how the budget works overall. So in this workshop, you'll have an opportunity to try to balance a mock city budget. Maybe the city will be called Malt Lake City. I don't know. But you'll have to make, participants there will have to make some trade-offs of do invest more in parks, public safety, infrastructure, etc. Just as a way to think about the trade-offs that are really involved in any budgeting process. And then I was just going to plug the ELPCO meeting again next week, but thanks for plugging it, Christina, with Mayor Mendenhall. Any questions coming up for folks?
That meeting's at you said the mill? Where's
So it's just, the Chase Mill,
Oh,
right there.
Yeah,
That's
in the
yeah.
area.
It's just a larger space, more accommodating, better safety. Obviously, we can't have her in this room. So,
And that's next Wednesday?
next Thursday, we always meet on the fourth Thursday of the month at 7:00, similar to you guys. We meet here too. But, yeah, this is just a special, kind of opportunity for a little bit more deep diving into some of the issues we've been tracking. You guys don't know this, but we track a lot of issues with your team, across the board, Jeff and Margaret, a lot. So we collaborate a lot.
I have a question. This is more kind of pulling from someone at our board meeting last week. He was mentioning that it seems to be a trend nationwide that we'll have funding to start parks and construct them, but not funding to maintain them. And I know we just had this beautiful park that you guys just did.
Mm-hmm.
And now this other one, which is exciting, but how does the budget work to maintain these?
That's a very good question. So oftentimes the city will be able to issue a bond to improve subject to voter approval. Voters say yes. We're willing to pay more in our property taxes because we believe in investing in open space. City will use that money to, public engagement, construction, and the eventual creation of, let's say, that park.
Yeah.
The challenge is we don't have as many resources for the maintenance part of things. And if we even think about all of the wonderful traffic calming measures that we had on our streets, each year it's about 2% maintenance that we have to anticipate paying for.
Right.
And so I think it's something the city is thinking about, something I'm thinking about how do we balance one-time expenses and one-time revenue with ongoing expenses.
So like that $2 million is dedicated to constructing it, not to maintain. No.
Exactly. But there will be costs associated with maintaining that park.
Yeah.
So something that your community council maybe doesn't know about yet. Actually, no, Margaret was there. We're starting a Friends of Liberty Park group, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just, and Michael Mayo's running it, he's on our board. So, that public-private partnership thing is still a little convoluted, but, I think we're kind of making it up as we go. But that's gonna be something that we should all be paying attention to, especially around Liberty Park. So.
Yeah. Maintain what we got.
Maintain what we got.
Yeah.
Which is something I heard really loudly from folks.
We love this new installation over here at the Seven Canyons. I think it's been nice.
Yeah. That was a great question. Thank you.
Well, it's from Matt. Stole that from him. Was there any other updates, Erica, that you wanted to talk about?
I think that's it. I mean, and you all know how to get in contact with me. Any other questions? I'm always here.
I might have misheard this. Was there a Stop the Bleed training too, or am I remembering that?
I was trying to get a Stop the Bleed training, but I don't feel like I've got a lot of excitement about it. But maybe you all could be some of my hype people about doing a Stop the Bleed.
What does that mean?
It's like
hemorrhage control.
Like if someone's bleeding, how to tourniquet them.
Yeah.
Like a mass casualty event.
Perfect way to put it. Yes. And that there's a lot of preventable. We can save a lot of lives with more people, especially at a mass casualty event, to know how to effectively stop the bleeding until first responders arrive. I do want to say how many people felt the earthquake, or one of the recent ones. Yeah. Just a reminder, and I'm sorry if the fire department already shared this, but have your earthquake kit ready if you've been like I have been in the past, which is like, oh God, I gotta go to all these places and get all of these things. You can go online, you can search 96-hour earthquake kit for a party of 2 or a family of 4, and they'll just ship it right to your house. So offering that, if that's an easier way for you to make sure that you're prepared for whenever the big one hits.
Did I see you the other day getting interviewed in the first encampment park?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was driving by and I was like, I think that's there. I was gonna do a friendly.
Yes. One of the things, and what I was getting interviewed about is I'm gonna be unveiling a Neighbors in Action campaign. And what that campaign is you think around about your neighborhood or even around this room. There's so many people doing so many good things to improve our neighborhoods. And so you'll have the opportunity to nominate if it's a small business owner or a neighbor who just goes the extra mile to say thank you for their work in making our neighborhoods a better place to live.
Recognition program for.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Neighbors in Action.
Oh, so it's already started, or you're gonna launch it?
It's gonna be launching. You guys,
We got the free.
You got the free. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And you announced the town hall March 25th.
Yes.
Perfect. I guess I'll have a quick update. Margaret reached out to Preservation Utah and arranged a tour of our neighborhood. And it's going to be a 60-minute walking tour. It's limited space. 20 people can attend. $10 donation for each person. It's going to be Thursday, May 28th. And so after this meeting, either the minutes or on the website, we'll send out the link of how to get those tickets if you're interested in attending. Sounds like a very cool tour at Preservation.
Do you know like what part of the neighborhood?
I don't know. I think Preservation's I think once they get closer, she'll tell us where to meet and all of that details, but it'll be a tour of our neighborhood. Yeah. And the link we'll send out, I read they have a description about our neighborhood and the history of it. And so I think it kind of gives a hint at what they'll be talking about. But yeah. If I knew, I would just do the tour. I would just do it. Yeah. I wish I knew. It sounds cool. And then we have Sam Marks here from NeighborWorks. We might, if he is here, maybe we'll come back to him. How about Turner? Fitton, excuse me. So I had two people who wanted to talk tonight. Turner was from Wasatch Advocates for Livable Communities. He was going to talk about the expanded housing operations and their organization's input on that. But he's not here tonight. So I will tell you guys there's open houses coming up. I put them on the agenda. The next one is February 24th from 6 to 7:30 at Highland High School. Have you heard about that?
Mm-hmm.
If you'd be willing to tell us more about it,
yeah,
because you know, just
so expanding housing options. There's a great website. I think it's one of the best websites the city has put together, explaining, what's going on, what's currently being discussed. It is trying to decide how far back. So up until 1995, we had I would say probably a more permissive zoning code. And what that means is if you drive around all of our different neighborhoods, you'll see a single family home next to a duplex, next to a triplex, next to another single family home. In 1995, the city voted to downzone many neighborhoods towards only allowing single family homes. What's currently before the expanding housing options is the city is looking into the ability for a homeowner, like anyone in this room, to say, hey, I want to either add an additional unit onto my property. Maybe it's a tiny home, maybe it's a duplex, maybe it's a larger mother-in-law apartment, some other living unit or structure onto your property to be able to do that. The intention is that we have what's called gentle density, more housing options that make sense for the character of our neighborhoods without necessarily relying on addressing our housing shortage by just going up. There's a really good website that shows you a visual of what this might look like. Some big things to note is it doesn't mean you have to do anything. Doesn't mean that you have to develop your property if you wanted to. It doesn't eliminate single family zoning. It just is an additional way for property owners, if they want to add additional housing units to their property, they can be able to do so. But if you have a lot of questions, come to one of these
Yes.
open houses and they'll also be at the town hall.
I know, and
Is,
go ahead.
is this in response to the state's proposal? Luau?
Say a little bit more about the state.
Luau, it's, land use. It's
Oh.
Luau that Utah,
Land Use Academy of
land use
Utah.
academy, or something like that.
From what I understand about, that proposal at the state, is that it's much more targeted towards other municipalities that haven't done as good of a job as building as much housing as we have. But instead have had much more restrictive zoning that has prohibited the development of more housing options.
Because our frustration as a community, and I'm sure you're aware of our gentle density.
Yes.
It's been frustrating that Salt Lake City, has allowed slot homes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've spoken at city council multiple times and have shared, Daniel Paralek, who wrote Missing Middle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been frustrating from a personal standpoint. We have slot homes going in 23 inches from the property line,
Mm-hmm.
3 stories up with huge windows, and the next door is on display 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
And that's been outlawed. Denver outlawed it in 2018. And it's just been frustrating that Salt Lake City hasn't tried to address that.
Yeah.
On a personal note, for me, I've been trying to put an ADU in my backyard since the first ordinance,
Mm-hmm.
which didn't actually allow ADUs and it had to be amended. I'm frustrated now because, planning, the current setback is 3 feet for an ADU, but yet slot homes are 23 inches. And that's only to 17 feet. And if you're building, for me, I want to replace my garage and put a 1-bedroom above it. I know 5 people that want to do the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
but the current ordinance, if you want to go to 2 stories, 20 feet with a shed roof,
Mm-hmm.
you have to push to 6 feet. And planning said, we don't know why the city council did that. That was not what was proposed, because that pushes the garage out of alignment with the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I have one friend of mine that just got so frustrated, he just finally went ahead and built a single story ADU because it was a battle.
Mm.
So just, it's a personal insight that, are we really supporting adding gentle density if the ordinance doesn't even, allow it or promote it? And so that's
good feedback. Thank you for sharing that. I might follow up with you afterwards and maybe we can also look at the expanding housing options together, because I wonder if some ways this might help to address some of those challenges you're coming up against.
Thanks.
I'm just a little confused about the expanding housing options.
Have you looked at any of the plans that the
Years
city
ago,
provides?
the city had passed some
I haven't, I just didn't.
changes where we are all allowed to have.
The city actually has, I think, 5
different
sets of
units
plans
on
for
the
ADUs, and there are, I think, at least
So,
one that involves a garage.
passed, so I'm still confused what.
I was in a meeting a couple of days ago.
No.
That
I was
was-
different from what are you talking about what he was saying or what this?
So there might be
It's the
something
open
in
house,
there
it's
that
like
would be.
expanding housing options, or you can have like another one in your backyard. I thought that ordinance had already been passed a couple years ago.
So, trying to remember that one thing you all will learn about me is as I wrap my mind around the zoning code, I might get the numbers wrong. But the expanding, yes. Then I might have a problem, right? So the expanding housing options, proposals are for some particular, I believe it's R5000 zones, which, there are a fair number that are in Liberty Wells area. I wish we could pull up the website.
They're all R zones, are all R1 zones. R1, 5,000, 7,000, all of them are.
What do you want me to pull up, expanding housing options? I also don't want to take over your.
Yeah, this has the.
Well, I think the rest of our agenda is
Well, yeah, it makes sense now why I didn't hear from them.
Well, I was thinking that initial ordinance was just for ADUs. It sounds like this thing allows more than the ADUs.
That's right, that's right. Let's see, we did pull up the website.
So the website says expanding housing options as a change to zoning rules would give property owners in lower density neighborhoods more options for how they use their property. It would make it possible to build more types of housing like smaller homes, townhomes, while preserving the character and unique qualities of each neighborhood. It doesn't require you to build new housing. It just provides flexibility, whether you want a second unit to create space. And I also would just put a shout out to, again, Preservation Utah for people expanding their homes. They have a lot of advice on how to do it in line with your historic qualities of your house. They have things that how to pop up or pop back.
And one thing that Margaret wanted me to bring up with Turner was we're concerned that changes in this housing options, we don't want it to promote people tearing down existing homes and building huge, again, slot homes.
Mm-hmm.
On 17 South, that's what happened. They tore down one home and built a all stucco 5 units.
Mm-hmm. That's right across from Hawthorne.
Right across from Hawthorne. And, so that's...
We did land use on that for 6 years. Land use on that particular building for 6 years. Trying to get it to be more about what the neighborhood wanted. Totally lost.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
Well, and what was frustrating, because when that started, I went to planning and said, can someone come present at Liberty Wells Community Council? And the response was, it's not required because of zoning. And so that felt like a slap on the face that, look, we want to talk to the developer. We'd like to understand what they're doing. And the response was, it's not required.
Because by right, they can develop it.
Yeah.
Can I make a point of clarification? Just so that we're all on the same page, because we do share so much overlap. But Turner's group is an advocacy group, right? So he doesn't work for the city.
Yeah.
And and just for everybody in the room, planning and zoning is not coming to our community councils to talk about this. We have to go to them. So, if you want your neighbors to learn about this, we have to take them to these open houses because they won't come to us on this. So, and then Turner's group is 100% for this. In fact, they help work specifically on this new ordinance. So,
and one thing I should say, Jeff, I hear your concern. That's also one of my concerns too. Will people just tear down their properties and just develop so much more because they can? It's a concern I have. The counter argument that I think might be implied in some of this is that it creates more home ownership opportunities for people. It creates more opportunities for people to live in all of our neighborhoods. But I think your concern around tearing something down that's there and building more is a real valid one.
And I agree. Slot homes have their place.
Yeah.
But it's been said, in established residential neighborhoods is not the right place.
Yeah.
And Daniel Paralek has made numerous comments about that. For instance, on 21st South and 4th, there's now condos going up. It's appropriate there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually pleasantly surprised with the original proposal. It had decks on the 3rd floor that looked over all the houses behind it, the single-story homes. Mm-hmm. And I said, really, either they should swap those so that they face the other direction. And the developer actually removed them. So I was pleasantly surprised. But yeah, they have their place, but
not in the middle of
existing. And also my biggest concern I've seen with that is spot rezoning. The city should not be doing spot rezoning in established neighborhoods.
Mm.
That was a sore spot with the Sears mansion property.
Mm-hmm.
They came in and rezoned an R1 to RMF 35.
Mm-hmm.
And we spoke out against it. Every single neighbor spoke out against it. But the planning commission and the city council overrode everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that lot is a nuisance property. It's still not developed. It's a dumping ground. It's always overgrown with weeds. Sorry, it's a sore spot because it's across the street from me. I see it every day.
I understand.
You know, and no one could ever, and because when we had the whole discussion of combining some zonings, the planning commission did a big presentation, and then I spoke and I said, you know, all those key bullet points you just listed on the screen, you ignored all of those and rezoned the Sears property, and no one could, you know, I said why.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry, don't mean to go down a rabbit hole. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Again, spot rezoning. Put in an RMF 35 in the middle of an R1 5,000 area just does not promote community, does not promote, you know, neighborhoods.
Yeah.
How does it increase home ownership? You said that earlier.
So, the image is gone, so that's okay. Sorry. No, you're okay. I'm trying to on the spot here. The website. Because if we think about, like, if we were to draw
Thanks for presenting.
Yeah. You know, whenever you're in a room you don't know, you're always like, which marker works? Okay, well, we're gonna maybe find one. Imagine this is your lot. Your home is right there, right? Maybe setback is probably not right, but you get the idea. You have all of this space back here that may be currently yard, maybe it's grass, which is likely water intensive. Not everybody, but you might have that. With the expanding housing options, you could put another unit in the back there.
But
you could
subdivide the property, that is, to sell it?
You could subdivide the property, you could use it as a place for multi-generational living for aging or elder parents or kids on the property, so that you're able to promote more, there's more opportunities for home ownership than just what's currently there.
Right, but my question is the only way to, like, create another lot would be like, you can't just, like, I can't build an ADU in my yard right now and sell it.
Yeah.
Right? I would have to subdivide it.
Yes.
So you're saying that you're saying the home ownership component is directly tied to the ability to subdivide certain parcels.
Yes, because the likelihood of the cost of this house, currently the cost of a median home in Salt Lake City, anybody know?
About 600
million. Yeah. There we go. 615,000.
Ask me about real estate.
That's right. I know we got a real estate agent in here. Who can afford that?
No one.
Majority of people who are currently renting right now will never be able to buy a home in Salt Lake City. The wages aren't aren't keeping pace. But this is not going to be a $615,000 home because of size. This is likely going to be maybe a $450,000 home, which then becomes a little bit more affordable for someone to get into the market with a product like this, rather than what was previously just this. That's the theory behind this. And so I know you've asked about other places. Durham, North Carolina, I think is a city that Salt Lake City is looking at who has done something like this.
Yeah, a lot of our lots here in Elko are not big enough to subdivide, so there is no home ownership opportunities there. That's why we're getting so many folks knocking them down and building the mega houses. And I'm assuming it's the same here in this part of town, that we don't have big enough, we don't have so I think that's something that you brought up that's really interesting for us to kind of keep our eye on, is like the lot size for.
Is there a minimum lot size?
There is. I could not tell it to you off the top of my head, but I think it's on the expanding housing options website.
So I'm not really well versed in this,
Yeah.
but, we put an addition on our house in 2007. Back then, when we talked about putting the addition on, there was this thing about the footprint and stuff, and that it could only take up 60%. Is that the number? 60%.
Yes.
And I know when we took in the drawings, we were really close enough that we were wondering if we could actually put a shed. And then they said, well, the shed is actually not really considered a permanent structure. So are they then talking about, would this change the footprint size of
Yes.
structure you
Yes,
can
with
put?
what's the minimum about how reasonable it is to build?
Because right now it's
1200.
60, so 60%, right? So that number would increase to the amount of
Yes,
permanent structure you could put on a lot.
I believe that's right. But there's a really great on that website, a table that compares. But we
That's
currently
already
have
changed. That's already changed, just so you know.
The
Like,
60?
From 2007 until now, that's all changed.
What percent are we at now?
They don't have minimums.
Oh.
One thing that
Well, I also know too, when we did that, we wanted to go up and they wouldn't let us go up. We had to do inline. And I think that was because of the thing that happened in the avenues and monster houses. And so they said, no, you can't go up, you have to go inline. And now a few years ago, all of my neighbors around me are going up there.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to make a note about that I thought was interesting around this is that if we think about, let's say, here's a lot, just one home on the lot now, and if it's water or whatever other landscaping you have, likely grass or whatever landscaping, likely water intensive. And because we've gotten much better about how we build, we have an opportunity to, even though we're building more, we have an opportunity to use water in a wiser way with these new buildings and conserve more water than we're currently often doing with watering our outdoor lawns and other types of things. So there's a conservation element to this as well.
Well, and the data shows like your consumptive use goes down, so the amount of water that goes back into the system actually goes up as density increases.
Yes.
Oh.
So whereas you water your lawn, that water doesn't go back into the system.
So that meeting will be next Tuesday. We have a couple meetings. So next Tuesday is the expanded housing options meeting. And then the District 5, well, that's next month. That's March 25th. But then also coming up.
Next Thursday is the East Liberty Well.
Thank you. That's the one. So the open house, oh, hold on.
So the community open houses, are those from city planning?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So you guys are next Thursday with Aaron Mendenhall?
We're next Thursday. No,
So next Tuesday is the open house. Thursday is the meeting with Aaron Mendenhall. Mayor Mendenhall, excuse me. And then,
March 25th is the town hall.
March 25th is the town hall. Thank you. I was looking for that.
And they'll also be presenting there. So if you missed your opportunity
Yes.
on to attend one of the open houses, you can come on March 25th because Expanding Housing Options will be presenting there as well.
Do we have to go to the open house dedicated to our area, or if
I don't think so.
You
for
don't.
any of them?
We asked them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
you.
They're not gonna be checking your ID when you come in.
You can go to any of them depending on your schedule.
And then I'll do a plug for our meeting in a month from now, March 19th. We're going to have our school district 5 candidate, Sandra Buendia, is coming.
Oh, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, Margaret's not here.
Yeah.
So, we always do meaning District 5 community councils, always do a debate for our community council or for our B5 school district, folks. Okay. So we have 3 running, so there'll be a primary. That means that ballots are going out the first week of June. So we were thinking we would try and do our collective, D5 Salt Lake City School District, debate, in May. So can you just, either relay that to Margaret or talk about it in a group or however you, and I'll send an email out, but, yeah. So Sandra is one of 3.
Mm-hmm.
And we sometimes let them come to our meetings and chat, but we do think this debate is pretty necessary for our collective D5. So I know that, I mean, I recognize some of you guys from our collective work that we do, but are you guys familiar with our D5 in the Know project that we do? So all the D5 community councils get together and we host collective action events for the whole district. We've done multiple candidate forums since I've been chair. And we've held a couple of, well, at least one town hall. What?
You did one with ours.
Yeah, we did one with this last time. You were there. Yeah, so it's something that, you know, it's really great to get all the community councils in D5 working together to produce, because we actually co-produce it. And we decide on questions and stuff together. So thank you, Liberty Wells, for
thank you for being
showing up.
Thanks for input. Well, open agenda items. I don't know if you've updates, Jeff, from yesterday.
I kind of covered it, some of it. It was question answer on CIP grants last night, the grant requests. And I mentioned that this was our second year entering the CIP grant request, but it was our 19th year asking for traffic calming in our community. And just again highlighted that most of the traffic is cut through for people avoiding the traffic on State and 7th East. Noted that, again, it's 300, 400, 600 East. 500 East is not included because of the legislative UDOT requirement, where the legislature identified specific streets that Salt Lake City cannot do any traffic calming, bike lanes, etc., without UDOT's review and approval. Let's see, I mentioned that we looked at that it was the same proposal as last year for speed humps, that we had looked at including some mini traffic circles on a couple of intersections, but transportation decided that the speed humps was still the best option, would be the most effective. And that was, that was all I covered. They had a question. They asked if any traffic calming had been implemented and mentioned the planters on 400 East. And that overall they really helped. I also mentioned that John Larson, as he was exiting, being the head of transportation, mentioned that hindsight was 20/20, and if he had the chance to do it over again, he would have put them in place and filled them with concrete. Because that was the biggest issue, was they kept getting pushed out of place, and it was hard for transportation to get scheduled to go put them back in the correct location. And also they kept getting smashed by vehicles, and we expect sometimes it was on purpose. So that's all. There were majority of the grant requests are for traffic calming.
Yeah.
Across the city.
You got good company.
Yeah. So.
Thank you for that. Anyone else have an open agenda item?
I was just wondering about that traffic calming. Is Emily here? I guess not. Did you see the emails last night? I don't know if you saw them, Jeff, that Margaret forwarded about a lady on Hubbard Avenue named Emily, and she had put in a CIP.
Oh yeah, she presented all of the grant requests presented last night. It was question answer for the board that's reviewing them. So they
that was the second half. The first one was last week. All of ours were on last week's.
Yes, correct. Yeah, transportation was last night.
So she did present yesterday.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, okay. I was confused. I thought she was going to talk today.
No, yeah, she was there last night.
Okay.
There were 2 full nights of only transportation, and then public lands was 2 weeks ago. So they had to split up all of the and Jeff is correct. They almost all of them were traffic calming. So that, I think it was like 40 something traffic calming requests from constituents.
Now the CIPs, the deadline's passed, but when does the city decide and tell people?
In the fall.
But there's always another round.
So you said, yeah, so the deadline is the fall of the year for the upcoming year. So you have to submit your application, and then if it's for us, traffic calming, the city assigns someone from transportation to work with us on our request. And then there's a round of, like we just had, of kind of question and answer. They gauge interest and what you've done, what your efforts have been. And then in the fall, they announce which ones are funded. The big thing this year is they specifically asked, can these be phased? Because they said, we have limited budget. Can your project be phased? And so that it'll be multiple years. Some are multiple years already, but that was a big thing that they asked almost everyone is, can your project be phased?
Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to continue to inquire about the UDOT parcels on the west side of 7th and just any updates, and spring is coming. I'm always hopeful when spring comes that we can do something better in those spots. But did you hear anything?
I have not gotten an update, but I was just having a sauna tracker, so I'm adding it to my sauna tracker to hopefully have an update for you when I come back.
Okay. And part of this is from the public safety, all those parcels there on the west side, and, it helps you guys too if there was, a better use there so that, the camping wasn't as frequent. And so, just with the bike path there and trying to just have, better use of the space.
And low water use too with the lake.
Right. And there's I think we've identified about 5 or 6 parcels, and there's still the thing too about the shed, being there. And there was talk, the latest, UDOT's hung on to those parcels forever, but the latest is that they were finally saying they were going to sell them, but who knows?
And plant trees, right?
Well, they planted trees. They already planted the trees because that was part of what they had to do on the bike path project. That was part of the contract. So they planted the trees, but now they're saying after years and years and years that their intent is to sell them. And so whether or not that means the city or adjacent homeowners or, I don't think they would be big enough to be commercial, but, I don't know. But then it takes UDOT forever to do anything. So,
we haven't really brought it up lately, but a couple years ago, we proposed a dog park on Garfield and 7th that's in the UDOT.
In one of them,
and because there's an alley that would separate it from the adjoining house. But we got pushed back.
Right.
And I'll just say Hawthorne is basically turned into a dog park. And Erica, not your Erica, is her name Erica or Erin? I think it's Erin. There's a name Erin. She's come to a couple of our meetings. She picks up litter, poop, weeds. She puts out dog poops, and I'll go there and people shove their dirty bags in her dog poop bag. She offers dog bags for people, and they'll shove their dirty ones anyway. But yeah, there's demand for dog parks. People are.
Well, and it's frustrating because there's signs on the gate, no dogs allowed.
Yeah.
And I even went once and I said, hey, you're out here running your dog. There's a sign on the gate, and they said, well, this isn't a school anymore. And I said, yeah, but it's still school board property. And another one said, well, I thought that was only during school hours. And I said, does it say only during school hours? But anyway, it's a losing battle.
Yeah.
Because more and more people see people out there running their dogs. And more.
And I see people crossing the street on 7th coming from the other neighborhood over from Sugar House. And I've taken my dog.
It is.
I pick up poops. I walk around. I pick up everyone else's poop. I justify it.
It is school board property. So if they want to enforce it, it's up to them. But
you have the right to remain silent.
We have that hill right behind East, like I live facing it, and people, use that as a dog park. And all the high school students come out and lunch and sit in it and roll in it and stuff. And so, nobody seems to care. I mean, there's and nobody enforces any of their rules, so like.
But for an empty school, it's really hard, but I was I see demand in our neighborhood for a dog park.
Yeah, you know, I mean, cause, I mean, Herman Franks.
Especially as the population, if we get more people in, we need more green space.
Well, I was glad to see that, Fairmont Park is being redesigned. But it was always frustrating to me that people running their dogs off leash on the soccer fields when there's a dog park just right over there.
Oh, I can run the dogs off leash in Liberty Park too.
And you know, and that was brought up, you know, years ago. And when the ranger program started, it was like, well, great, someone can finally enforce dogs on leashes in Liberty Park, because you know, you walk in those big expanses of grass, and a lot of times.
Oh yeah, all the time.
There's piles.
All the time.
And it's just.
What's the issue with Herman Franks? Like, because that's pretty close. I mean, it's only, you know, 4 blocks away to Hawthorne. So do people not like that? Dog park?
I think it's the 17th versus 13th. It's a big walk. Yeah. I don't know why that people would. I think people from Sugar House cross 7th rather than walk.
And honestly, too, Franks in the past have got a lot of trees.
Plus, this one's grassy, and there's a playground. So I see parents come with their dog and their kids at the playground. There's basketball courts. There's a lot to do.
So just better, like
this is cleaner.
What would we call it? We would call it. It's just better amenities.
Well, it's better maintained, and we have people like Erin. Sorry for her name. Erin picks it up. I mean, she weeds. She picks up glass and litter. And
are you guys familiar with Weed Up? That project they just did in Central Ninth. I mean, it's right under the underpass.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all that. You know, frankly, I could care less about any of the rest of the project, but the dog park is just an additional pocket dog park there. And I thought that was brilliant. You know, like, they did that. A community just came together, you know, again, public-private partnership. So you could, if you need that.
Well, again, we got pushback from UDOT. When we initially proposed it, we said, well, you know, it gets rid of grass. You don't have to water it.
Yeah.
And there's no trees.
Where's that at? Where's that?
On Garfield and 7th East.
Grass is still
the north side. But anyway.
The sign up sheet is right here. I think everyone's been to these meetings, but if anyone wants to sign up, I think your emails are on our list. Anyone else have an agenda item to add? Was that all you wanted to talk about? You're just keeping your eyes open, keeping the conversation.
That's how I ended up here with my push to do something with those lots. It's been a long time, and you know, we finally got the Harrison Garden. I mean, I made a big push and finally got that, and now there's, you know, those 5 or 6 other plots, and I just think that there could be a better use for that space.
Yeah. And then I'm organizing an event in June 13th, a neighborhood garden tour, a self-guided tour. Got 2 gardeners committed already. One couldn't because he's an urban farmer and he doesn't think we'll have enough water this year for him to justify himself farming. This is being conservation, but so hoping to get about 8 gardens. Still hearing back from some others, but it'll be in June and keep you guys updated. But I have flyers in case you want to give it to any neighbors, and they can contact me. If you walk around the neighborhood and go, oh, they have a cool yard, I'll pass it around. So, yeah.
What time are you thinking about on June 13th?
In the morning. 8,
Before it gets very
8 to 2. And also, I'm trying to reach out to the seed exchange with the city because I want to have a booth at each house. So seed exchange, I want to reach out to Flanagan to see State Land Collective is going to come. So yeah,
love it.
Yeah, just like a parade of homes up for gardens. You guys
love Creative Gardens.
Creative Gardens, right? Yeah. If you guys have any.
I haven't studied. I'm just shooting around. My neighbor does.
Yeah, June 13th.
Is there some way that, if you guys, I don't know if you guys have started talking about this in city council yet, but maybe like some sort of PSA or educational thing about conserve water, but keep your trees alive somehow. Because a lot of people are here like, well, we can't water the trees now, and the trees die, and then that makes things worse. And the pioneers, I don't know if they knew the science behind this, but they just knew that you plant trees, it attracts water, and that's how the rainforest, it's kind of a cycle. Plant more trees, water attracts water, and that's where there's waterfalls, and it grows more trees, and then there's more moisture, and then water attracts water. That's why we get the lake effect, snow, water attracts water. So we need to keep our trees alive, so what kind of thing are we planning here to like teach people, okay, we're in a drought, but you do need to keep your trees alive, or keep your zeros, you know, your little lavender flowers alive. Like, how do
Utah Water Savers, if you follow them on social media, they will tell you how to irrigate the minimal. They'll give updates for regions in the state. I think it's Utah Water Savers. They have a map, and they'll say if you have a drip irrigation or sprinkler irrigation, talk about watering trees and how to water in the winter.
Well, the problem is the city's willing to replace the tree free, but nobody follows up. If they don't water it and it dies, I think the city ought to come back and say, you're going to pay for that tree. That'll make sure it gets watered.
I feel like when I walk by all the dead little new planted trees, I just want to go in there and meet people up and pay for that tree.
Fun fact, you can request it for other people instead.
I know.
Yeah, there's a abandoned house, you can request it for them.
I don't know who, if it's urban forestry or
Urban
someone else,
forestry.
but I've been seeing signs on trees that says about the importance of watering trees popping up all over. I don't know who's putting them up, but I think it's great.
I'm just wondering if the city can do something to like a PSA to educate people. Just because we're in a drought doesn't mean you don't water your trees. You know, I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas.
Well, it's a good point, because our trees also help us keep it breeze, shade, help us cool down, especially.
I love that, but that's not mine.
That's from the fire department.
Oh. You know, have a post on social media about it and encourage people to keep caring for our trees.
Or collaborate with what
Utah Waters,
what group were you saying about you can go on there and learn about water?
Utah Water Savers, if you just follow them on Instagram.
So like some collaboration with them, maybe, so like there could be like a billboard or
Erica, is it possible to find out how many trees the city plants, those new ones that are free?
That's a good question. I think it's probably, I'm surprised, pretty easy for us to figure out how many each year were.
They have that data.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just pulled it.
If you figure the value of those trees, and if they're 90% of them are dying because they're not being watered, the city ought to take steps to tell the people, we'll plant one, but if you die, it dies, you pay.
Why don't to request it, you have to commit, like, I'll take care of this tree.
Well, commit, but what?
I can't afford.
Yeah. Well, because I see what happens is a lot of landlords come in and have the city plant trees, so it looks nice and beautiful to like show the house, and then the renters move in, it's like, oh, we're done. You know, that's what I've seen.
That's hard.
Yeah. That should be covered in the ordinance though, like the new landscaping ordinance should cover that loss. Like if landlords, you know, property owners, because there are property owners, they are required to maintain their property in the same way a homeowner would. So somebody can follow up an enforcement with that, because it's not technically the most, you know, especially if it's a multi-family. You know, my reading of that ordinance is that like you need to follow up with the property owner.
Yeah, sidewalks don't get shoveled in the winter, the landlord's responsible, he can be fined.
And that's what you report on the Salt Lake City app, right?
Yes. Same overgrown
Don't
weeds.
call 911.
Same with overgrown weeds.
Report it on the app. Abandoned shopping cart. Icy sidewalks.
That's right.
Anyone else, or are we good to adjourn for the night? Let's adjourn. We'll see you guys in a month.
Yeah.
Or next Tuesday.
I'll just do a quick plug. If you're not on the District 5 monthly newsletter, you can go to the District 5 website and sign up.
Yeah, we got it. Thanks.
I have a question. You said that we've been trying to pull city data